Hi, everyone. Welcome to the End of Life Journey and Beyond, the Sands of Time. My name is Lisa Strahs-Lorenc, and I'm a bereavement specialist. Hi, Susan. It's good to see you today.
Hi, it's great to see you, Lisa. My name is Susan Capurso. I'm an end-of-life doula and legacy specialist. And today is a really important one. This video we're doing today, we're talking about the topic of self-care for the caregiver, both before, I'm sorry, not before, during and after when you're working with a patient at the end of life. So end-of-life care is a really sensitive role, whether you're a family member, a friend, a health aide, or really anybody who's involved in the medical team surrounding the person's life. And for this time to be the best time that it can possibly be, it often requires some pre-planning, some planning for both physical and emotional preparations for the caregiver as well as the patient, right? So
Yes.
having a plan when supporting a patient with a terminal diagnosis and definitely includes the topic of self-care. And it's really important because end of life requires attention and detail into helping the person feel as comfortable as possible until they pass away, and in a way that doesn't take its toll on you. So it doesn't cause distress, fatigue, feelings of feeling overwhelmed. And there's so much more beyond these.
So
So
you
who
know,
takes care of the caregiver, Lisa?
mhm.
The caregiver has to, and it's imperative to plan ways to care for yourself going through this time, both during the end of life and after a person has left the world. So today we're going to talk a little bit about both self-care during and after a passing. And I know you're bubbling at the seams, Lisa. What would you like
Because
to say?
I always like a story. Okay. And I certainly was a caregiver as you were, but I was a caregiver for 15 months. And I decided that my best course of action, again, everybody differs. And it's so important to find what is good for you and works for you. I joined a caregiver support group for cancer care. And all the people in that room were caring for a loved one, whether it was a spouse, a parent, a child in that room. And it was a group that met once a week. It was free through Cancer Care, right here on Long Island. And it was a safe place for us to scream and yell and cry and think about what we were going through and not apologize for those feelings that we had, because caregiving is such a challenging job. You want to be everything that person needs. You want to be there for them completely. And I was, and I felt that I did everything I could do. But as you said, we need to take care of us. And it is so draining and so difficult and so all-encompassing. And it is like a roller coaster. We used to talk all the time about our ups and downs. You know, sometimes it seemed like there was hope. Other times it seemed like there was no hope at all. And I need to be with people who understood how I felt. And I didn't have to apologize for anything that I was feeling or worried about, or even the fact that, you know, my husband was yelling at me and he was frustrated and angry. And I need to know that it was all right for me to feel hurt or even upset about that, or even, I wish he could be different. I wish he could feel different. I wish, but I didn't know what it was like to be a patient. I only knew what it was like to be a caregiver.
That's right.
For me, that worked.
And you know, about support groups, right? So we are talking about two separate things today, while you're caregiving for the patient and then after they've passed. So I just want to note on the support group front that there are support groups for both.
Yes.
For either situation that you're in. And it's really a matter of reaching out to look for it and ask for help.
And caregivers and all the support groups and stuff are not for everybody. I've been told by some people, especially with grieving groups, that they become more depressed. For me, it was great to get support. I did it after my father died. I did it after my husband died. Grief groups for me meant that at least people understood what I was going through, and I could share my experiences and hear from other people. But that's not always true for everybody.
But for me, that was not the way, right? So we differ on that aspect. So it's good to know that it's okay,
Yes.
either way that you feel.
Yes.
And you know, one-on-one maybe, a one-on-one counselor may be a good therapist, a good choice of a therapist for you.
Yes.
I didn't have that either. But everybody's different, and that goes to show you right here that we're a little different, right?
Yes. Yes.
So let's start with, though, when the caregiver is caring for that person, right?
Yes.
Before the passing, we'd like to start with that. So first of all, you know, there are things that you can do in the everyday life of while you're with them, while you're caring for somebody, whether it's when you're with them or whether it's after you finish with them and you leave wherever you are. But just stretching and breathing are simple things, but they're very important. And I am a bad culprit of this. I don't even think about that when working from home. I work on my computer a lot. And I don't even, I mean, it might be good for me to set a little alarm and just to remind me every hour or every couple hours to really get up and move and stretch. It's not for everybody. You may be on the move the whole time you're with your person, but it's important to do that so that you feel good, right?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that doesn't work for me. That isn't something that I'm interested in, but I know that for other people, it's very helpful to them.
What do you mean interested in?
Because it doesn't resonate with me.
To
Breathing and
move
all
and
that.
to breathe and
You see, so all the people can now identify with the different kinds of personalities that we are. For
yeah.
me, my therapy is not meditation or breathing or anything.
I'm not talking about meditation though right now. I'm talking
Just
about
breathing.
not getting stiff in your bone.
Okay.
You know, so to make sure that you're doing ample stretching during your time with this person,
Okay.
because your person maybe isn't talking, isn't speaking, and maybe you spend a lot of time sitting. That's what I meant.
Okay.
Self-care for yourself as far as stretching and moving.
Okay.
But you know, and then there's many other things that go with that too. Remembering to get some laughs, whether that's there or sometimes not so much, but when you go home,
Yeah.
right? Incorporating some laughter just as a relief.
If you go home. If you're home
If you go home,
with the
right?
person, okay, then you're going to have to take some individual time. There's some great chicken soup for the soul books that are wonderful. I just gave somebody chicken soup for the soul for the cancer soul. And the stories are really very inspirational about dealing with cancer.
Yeah. And you've read that book? It's good.
It's very good. Very good.
I haven't read that. I need to.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm dealing with somebody who's an older person who, you know, she's 95 and, you know, she's losing sort of, you know, the ability to just think in the present and whatever. And I bought her the book for the Golden Soul. It was Chicken Soup for the Golden Soul, and it's called Wise Words from Us Older People. And that's really nice so that she can have a little bit more. And no, so for me, I want to be able to support somebody, but then of course, we're talking about supporting ourselves. I want to be able to understand better, you know, what they're going through and then have time for me. You know, and
of course, but that's what we are talking about.
Right.
You.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Not the things that we're giving to the person right now, but how you can care for yourself, whether it's mentally, you know, emotionally, spiritually, physically, anything that you need to do to make you feel good.
Yes.
Right. So even talking to other people.
Oh yeah, that's big.
Right. Isn't that important?
It is. And that for me is very good for me. I like meeting other people who care about me and understand me and all that. Yeah. You know what I'm going through. Yeah.
You know, we need that. And we need friends that will just really sometimes listen.
Yes.
You know, to let us vent a little bit.
Yes.
To let and what about getting rest? Right?
Yeah, I don't need a lot of rest, but other people do. And so
That's you. Most people need rest to
they do.
function.
They do. And rest sometimes just means just watching a fun program, funny
Yeah.
program, and it doesn't mean sleep all the time either. Resting
Mhm.
just means
Yes,
taking
you're
a
right.
break.
You're right. Absolutely. Because, some people do need more sleep than others, but yes, resting means many things, but to just prioritize, to some of these self-care things.
Yes.
Nutrition,
Yep.
right? That's a big one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we know
Educate
that when we
yourself
eat
adequately.
poorly, I know I eat poorly and things that I really shouldn't be eating when I'm stressed,
Sure. We all
right?
do
Because
that.
you want that comfort. You want
Yes.
comfort food.
Yes.
However, you know how comfort food sometimes makes your body feel and your focus feel. So it's important to try and eat healthy,
Yes.
during these times and choose some better choices,
Yes.
right? Asking others for help,
Well, that's a biggie.
right?
Yeah, it shouldn't all fall on your shoulders. And it's very hard because you feel it is all on you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's big.
absolutely. So whether again, it's somebody to talk to or, a friend or somebody, but ask for help. Don't keep it all on yourself because we all know what happens when we hold things in and don't have that release.
Even
Right?
taking turns, one time we talked about a calendar, I think, and we talked about a few other things.
Yeah.
Organizing visits and all. If you're home
Yeah.
with that person, you're there all the time, and you do need to get out once in a while and just have a break.
Yeah.
So
You're
be
so
able to
right.
ask somebody
You're
else.
so right. And that calendar can be important. It can really be important to schedule in a couple other people during the course of the week to give you a little bit of relief.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
And without feeling guilty, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Guilt is such a big thing for us caregivers.
It sure is. Very big. So without feeling guilty, you need to implement these things. And don't be afraid to say no.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to say no, as far as, you being expected to be the caregiver all the time, every day, or for extraordinary amount of hours, right? You can't do it all.
That's right.
You can't do it all. So sometimes you just have to say, no, I need that me day, and somebody else has to be. Ask for a little more flexibility, whether it be to family members or people that you're working with, or let them know you need a brain break.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And what about the time that you're not with your person? I'd say to do a few things like, spending some quality time with people that you love, whether it's friends or family or whoever it is, because you're really going to feel good in these moments are going to feel comforting. Make it a point to say, hey, I need some quality time right now.
Yeah, I call it nourishing your soul.
Yeah, that's a great word, Lisa.
You need to nourish yourself because you're depleted.
Yeah. Yeah, and it is a hard time, just not for the person. It's a hard time for everybody that's around them.
Right.
And I have to add in, although it's not for you, Lisa, I know, but meditation and spiritual practices as well. Maybe you are spiritual, maybe you read the Bible, or you listen to some, people who talk spiritually, or deep breathing. You can call it deep breathing if you want. That's what meditation is. And there are many on YouTube, and they're all over. There are apps for that. And it's really breathing and sitting still. And I got to tell you, it lowers your stress level and it takes your anxiety down a notch. And I've needed that tool badly in my lifetime, and it works. So just look into that. You can keep a gratitude journal.
Nice.
Right? Isn't that good?
Yeah, that is good.
Things that you're grateful for in your own life. Right? And you can just reflect on those.
Yes.
Any kind of exercise, I think we mentioned that already. But what about something as simple as reducing the amount of caffeine you're drinking?
Yeah, I don't drink caffeine.
You what?
I don't drink caffeine at all.
We're not talking about Lisa though today. We're talking about everybody else in the world.
I'm here to tell people that herbal drinks are so wonderful, and
Yes.
and that they provide a really natural, uplifting
Yes.
kind of good feeling. You know, chamomile tea and peppermint tea, and I'm really into herbs, and I do think that people should really investigate that further, because caffeine is really an artificial high, an artificial stimulant.
Right.
And it produces this thing, but then when it comes down, you know, your body doesn't have that same kind of feeling. Whereas if you were to do herbal stuff, you'll have the continuous niceness,
Yes.
you know.
I'm so glad that you brought that up, you know, because that's absolutely, absolutely true. And
Yeah.
there's so many teas and,
Oh yeah.
you know,
There's
on the
even
market.
anti-stress teas, and they do
Yeah.
have some great flowers in them. Really nice flowers that,
Yeah.
you know, are put into the tea bag. You can see them, they're beautiful.
So good for you. I mean, because if you are a coffee drinker and you're spending a lot of hours, I mean, caffeine can do crazy things. You might say, no, it doesn't affect me that way, but it can when you're drinking a lot of cups of coffee during the day.
Yes, and people who can't sleep, I might as well mention that there is Valerian Root, which is a natural root that you can put a few drops into some things, you know, whether it's hot or cold drinks, and that helps you calm down too, because it's a really nice flower that does that.
Yeah, and don't be afraid if you did try it. They do sell it in Whole Foods and places like that, but it doesn't work for everybody,
Right, that's right.
you know.
Listen, there's
But I believe it
melatonin
works for
too.
the majority.
Yes, there's melatonin too. People use melatonin to sleep and stuff as well. So I mean, that's
Right.
an alternative as well.
So there are alternatives to a sleeping pill.
Yes.
Try
Yes.
not to go there, right?
Yes. Yes. But how about relaxation things like a spa? You know, a
Oh my
spa
gosh,
day. I
yes.
mean, what a great way to sort of rejuvenate yourself, you know, to
Yes.
be really focused on by somebody else and just like lay there like that.
Treat yourself. Treat yourself
Yeah.
with kindness and gentleness.
Yeah.
Right? You know, even listening to music.
Yeah.
Listening to music if you can get a break and go for a walk, or you know, everybody's wearing their headsets these days, or at home, turn the music up loud. It always changes a mood and lightens up the room, I think.
Yes. Yes.
Depending on the music you put on, of
Right. And
course.
favorite places to visit. You're a beach person, go to the beach, walk in the sand, look at the waves, sit there calmly. You know, that's some people's just
Yeah.
amazing place, right?
Oh yeah, that can do amazing things for you if you can get by the water. Absolutely.
Yes. Walking
That's
around a
natural.
lake, you know,
Mm-hmm.
prettiness, nature,
Oh yeah.
arboretums, you know.
Hikes, go on a hike.
Yeah.
Right? Anything to do with nature. That's wonderful. And even hobbies. You know, if you have any particular hobbies, that can be your brain break.
Yeah. Yeah. Sewing. Sewing's a great one. People
Mm-hmm.
love to sew. People like to crochet, embroider. I mean, there's a lot of things that people crafty kinds of things. You feel very creative then too.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, we talked about reading books. What about playing with pets? Right? That always seems to lighten a mood if you have pets or can
Yeah.
adopt one for the day.
Uh-huh.
And really, it's all about self-love, I believe that, and there's so much on loving yourself and taking care of yourself
Here,
if you do a little research.
yeah. You know, here's what is the most difficult. And so we can speak, you know, from all these professional things, but the personal thing is this. You're so focused on that person and their needs.
Mm-hmm.
And you're so focused on just unconditional that you don't realize that if you're not nourished, it's so hard to be nourishing to somebody else. You will deplete whatever
Yes,
you have
you
left.
said that so well.
Okay?
Yeah, that's just the way it is. And I know I'd be the first one to turn around and tell somebody, I'm fine. I'll do it. It's okay. I'm fine. And yeah, you think you are, but you worded it very, very wisely there, Lisa, about you think you are, but you really don't know, and you're depleting yourself more and more, and you don't want to come to realize that you explode or melt down.
Or that you resent, and now you're angry
Yes.
and you're hiding all these other feelings, which really are destructive feelings as well. And it is
Yeah.
very hard. This is, you love that person, you're doing the best you can for them, but you know that you have to be there for yourself too. And it's very difficult, I know, because you think you're super person, during that time. You're an advocate and you're helping every minute and every day but this, how do you go on? How do you keep going on? This is not, I used to say to people, this is not like some sprint. This is a marathon. I didn't know how long I was going to live. I didn't know, even my mom, she was in the hospital for 7.5 months. I went to that hospital every day because I was her advocate. There were things going on in the hospital that I was not happy with. And I was always on top of everybody, like what's going on with her care and that. But in the meantime, I had kids, I had a job, I had a husband in law school at the time. I mean, it was a lot. And here I am trying to be the best I can for my mom. But what about me?
Right.
So same
Right.
thing, that's 7.5 months, not even 15 months that I had with my husband. So you really have, this is so important. And people think, oh, I'm going to be all right. It'll be fine. I'm going to be all right.
Yeah.
It's not all right.
You also have to really assess that role, that you're in the role of a caregiver.
Yeah.
When you're with that person, we're all a lot of roles, right? We all play a lot of roles in life.
Yes.
A wife, a husband, a daughter, a niece, a grandmother. We have a lot of roles. Well, when you're going through this time, even if you're not in the professional field and you're caring for a loved one at home, you have to assign that role to yourself.
Sure.
Today from 9 to 6, I'm going to be a caregiver. And then that will help you separate it, I think, a little bit better and get over some guilt so that when you go home, you can disconnect just a little bit. And that's key, I think, right, Lisa? Disconnecting a little bit.
Yeah. And
to
that's
stay
true,
healthy.
but what if you're not going home? The thing
Right.
is that the person's here at home with you. So that feels like it's 24 hours.
That's right.
And you
You're
got to do something about that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, our wish was that he was always home. And we tried to make sure that he was always home. We went to the hospital only one time.
That's a good segue into depression.
Yes.
Right? Because it's very easy to fall into a depression, I think.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to mention a couple of the feelings to help you self-diagnose. Hey, I might be falling into a little depression. Sometimes it's easy for people to say, oh, I'm so depressed. Other times, no, I'm not depressed, but you may be. So feeling sad, feeling empty, feeling hopeless while you're in this role.
Yep.
Maybe changes in your eating habits or your sleeping patterns. Okay, a lack of motivation, a lack of interest.
Yes. Not even want to get up in the morning. How about that one?
Yeah. Feeling numb, neglecting your physical well-being. And this is a big one too. And I see this a lot. Neglecting your appearance.
Yeah.
Right?
That's right.
When you start not showering and why I don't see anybody anyway, what's the difference?
Yeah.
And your hair looks unbrushed and you're not wearing any makeup anymore if you're a woman. When you start seeing these things in yourself, it's really it's not caring.
Yes.
And that can be a sign.
Yes.
Right. And again, that can go into thoughts of death or suicide and how to end your life when you're in a situation like that 24/7 that Lisa just spoke about.
Yeah, feeling of desperation, maybe.
Yes, that's a good.
There's no alternatives. There's no way out every day. Yeah.
You need to ask for help. You really do. You need to.
It doesn't mean you're not strong. It doesn't mean you don't love the person. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean, you're not what you're supposed to. It's none of those things. It's that
Right,
you care about yourself and understand your needs enough that you cannot be doing this day in, day out with no support and no help. We're all human beings and we all need help.
right.
So we shouldn't be ashamed of that. It's hard.
Let's talk a little bit about now after a person passes, Lisa.
Yes, yes.
All
I
right,
want to
so
tell you
what are
something.
some of those feelings
All right.
involved?
So you know me, I like to start with a story.
Yep.
10 days after my husband died was my birthday. All right, now what am I going to do about my birthday? And I'm a birthday person, but I also didn't know what to do about it. Well, my kids treated me to a full day spa, and it was hair, and it was the body, and it was the face, and nails, and pedicure. And I mean, part of me just wanted to go crawl back into bed and all, but this was so wonderful that they did for me. So
And you
wonderful.
forced yourself to do it,
I
but the
did.
bottom line is that you did it.
I
And
did.
now look, you're talking about it. You've mentioned this one or two times in other videos. And that goes to show me that that it was so important. It's an important memory for you that you got up, you put your big girl panties on, and you went to that spa that day. And now you look back at it like, wow, like you're so grateful for that,
That's right. That's right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. And by the way, that is accepting gifts or accepting, obviously all the people brought food over and all the people were coming in and out and stuff, but it's also accepting gifts and support from people who care about you. That's
Yes.
very important to do.
Oh, sure
during
is.
this
Sure
time.
is. Sure is. It's hard for the healthiest of people to accept gifts sometimes,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
That's right. That's right.
And you learn that though over time, that it's important to be accepting of gifts. But you need to really allow yourself time to grieve.
Yes.
Watch for those signs of depression that we just spoke about here as well after a loss, because you might not feel any of that until the person passes.
Yes. Yes.
Right? So you have to give yourself time to grieve. You know, you're going to suffer all these guilt feelings again that maybe you didn't do enough.
Right. Right.
Um,
Right. What if we had
yeah,
done
what if I
different?
did this different? What if I did that different?
Yeah.
And you're going to suddenly find yourself with free time,
Yes. Yes.
yes, that you didn't have before.
Right. That's right. Where
And
did
what
that
do I
role
do with
go?
that time now? Where did
Yeah.
that role go? And
Yeah.
how do I get back on track?
Yeah. I
And
was
it
lucky I
does,
had a job that I could go back to. That's helpful
yeah,
because at least there's something to go back to, but others do not. And now you
yeah,
have to figure out, well, what's your new identity here? Because it was a caregiver and now it's not.
right. You have to figure out what comes next.
Yeah.
What comes next? And some of the adjustments will be greater for some people than other people, right? But take your time. I mean, no one's been in your role and in your shoes and in your steps along the way, and you just take the time to go through this and think about the things that you're doing and how to rebuild your life. Focus on those things.
Yes.
you know it's tough. We're not saying here that it can be
Mm.
easy and celebratory,
Yes.
but that this time can be really tough depending on the relationship. I think it will be tougher for the person who's in the house 24/7
Sure.
and has felt no relief. And it's a little bit different for the person who's just worked a role in a nursing home, say,
Sure.
or a hospice. Maybe you got close to a person. So it'll be different for them. It's still a loss, and they'll feel things.
Yes.
But it's how you address them afterwards. If you need to seek out that professional help that we talked to, do it here. Maybe it wasn't those support groups in between, but maybe now is the time in order for you to bounce back, to take advantage, of help from others who are experienced in this,
Yes.
this field. Take little steps, reconnect with other people,
Yes.
because sometimes we want to just be alone.
Right.
And that's easy to fall into that trap
Sure.
of just, I don't want to see other people. I just want to hear silence, or I want to watch TV, or whatever your thing may be. But it's important to reconnect. Pick up the phone. Think of somebody who makes you feel good usually, and either have a conversation or invite them over for a cup of coffee, and just let them know that you need to lean on them a little bit, right?
Yeah, self-care is also accepting all the feelings. Feelings aren't good or bad. Feelings are just there. And so, it's okay to cry. It's okay to scream. It's okay to, all those things are okay. As long as you understand that it's all part of your own journey and your grief
Right.
journey, and everybody's different. So allowing yourself and treating yourself to be who you need to be is part of that. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's okay.
exactly. After a loss, I mean, we all have a racing mind going on. There's a racing mind of things you could have done, should have done. It should have happened differently. Your mind doesn't stop racing, and it really needs a little bit of time to settle down.
Yes.
So we're all different, and you have to, as you could see in our video today, right? Lisa and I are different in certain ways, but whatever your thing may be, those are the things that you have to grasp onto now and hold on, because that's a rope that will help you pull out of the extreme overwhelm
Right.
and the, extreme fear and stress and anxiety. So whether it's breathing deeply or getting involved in sewing or visiting or walking or whatever your thing may be, just go get into it, right? And go for it.
And know yourself. You've spent so much time giving to someone else, and now you need to give to yourself.
Yeah.
And connect.
And I kind of call it, how I felt? I did spend 55 days in the hospital with my husband and didn't leave. And that was not good because I didn't even walk outside the front door and take a walk and feel my face in the sun. So I was wrong, and that wasn't good. But
you did but you did what you felt was right at the time, and the best that you could do at the time. And, we all, when we look back on something, we can see something different. But at the time, this is what you needed to do. This is what was important for you. So, don't be hard on yourself, okay?
And, this is, I forgot where I was going with that. That totally, the minute I brought that up, just stopped me from continuing my conversation. So I'm sorry I cut that. But that's the big thing in giving yourself time, talking to other people and taking the time to grieve. And when my husband passed, all I could remember is that I felt like a little girl. I really did. I felt vulnerable. I felt like a little baby who just needed to be nurtured and cared for.
Yeah.
And I've said that in a couple videos, how I went to the salon just so they would rub my shoulders and neck because the feeling of touch made me feel good. So it's different things. And that's why we do these videos, to offer some different perspectives, because different people feel different ways. So hopefully in these videos, you'll hear little tidbits along the way and you'll say, oh, wow, okay, so I just learned that. And then maybe when you are in the situation one day, you'll reflect back on that and you'll remember knowing that, hey, Lisa and Susan told me this, and now I know what to expect. Or you can keep us bookmarked and you can always refer back to the videos too. But before we end, I just wanted to mention one other thing. So if you are a friend of the caregiver, right? So we didn't talk about that at all. And just a couple things I wanted to say, that if you're the friend of the person who's had a loss just recently, be their cheerleader. They need someone in their corner. They really do. And allow them to talk like we've told you to talk, the caregiver to talk along the way. Allow your friend who was the caregiver to talk. This is so important. And without judgment, just be quiet, just listen and give them time, and be a real friend.
The core,
That's the definition of a real friend now.
Yes,
right? When things
Cool.
get tough.
Exactly. The call of I'm just checking in. Okay. Not how are you? Okay. But I'm
Yeah,
just checking in because I was thinking of you. That is such
perfect.
a great opener for people because they can say as much or as little as they want. I'm just feeling horrible today. I just don't know how I'm going to cope each day. I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. Whatever it is, you have now reached out to them and shown them that you care about them. That's best you can
Right,
do. Best thing you can do.
right. And another best thing you can do is really, if you live in a close proximity, find ways and find times to make yourself available to them. Just while they're going through this tough time.
Yeah.
A little bit of extra love, right?
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So
Yes.
pretty good today, Lisa. I hope
Yes.
that if anybody has any questions or concerns or ideas or
And yep,
suggestions,
and
that they can reach
comments
out
about
to
things that,
us.
yep, comments of things that work for them or that they
Yeah.
feel, they needed to do or needed to have or whatever. We welcome those because everybody's
Yeah.
different.
Right. And we've interviewed many different guests, as you see on our channel. But you know what? It's not just, it's not just open to professionals. So just so you know, if you've had a unique story that you feel can help other people
Mhm.
going through their time, reach out to us as well. And we'll assess the situation and perhaps love to
Yep,
have you as a guest.
absolutely.
So we always talk a little bit about the things that we do.
Yes.
And before you do, Lisa, because you always, I let you go first in that. I love your books and everything that you do. But I want to just let people know, while we're still in caregiver brain here, that if they go to my website, it's up there, right? eastondoulacare.com, you'll see a page for the healing garden. And I recently made a healing garden. It's a bowl full of stones with inspiring messages on it. I made one for the caregiver.
Yes.
And this is a really important bowl because I can't think of a phrase offhand right now, but they're powerful messages that are meant for caregivers. And
And
it's,
I gave the one that you have for grieving people. I gave
oh
that
yeah,
to someone whose brother had died in a horrible tragedy. And it was such a welcome gift. It was just beautiful, beautiful, unique gift for her.
thank you.
So
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.
But
And you can
too.
find that on my website as well. But now let's hear about some of the things you do, Lisa.
So, besides the books, which of course are fundraisers for pancreatic cancer research, I love doing workshops. So if anyone has a group that they'd like me to do a workshop for, I'm doing something in October for a larger group. I love doing workshops because I like the dynamics of people together and the contributions of each person and how dynamically they can help each other. I love that support. I'm a big group person. So I can facilitate different kinds of groups and different topics. I do things about celebrating, holidays or celebrating certain times in people's lives. And, the first year comes up and now what happens? And so I'm really big into, into different creative ideas on how you celebrate people's lives, because though the people are not there anymore, I always believe that they are here with us always because we remember them. Remembering is how we keep them alive for us. So we just need to
Exactly.
incorporate that and do that well. So that's what I enjoy
Yeah.
doing. And of course I do individual work too, but I really do enjoy the group. And you, how about the legacy work you do?
Well, I just wanted to mention the Healing Garden Bowls today, really.
Okay.
The Legacy book is just a 4-week project that I help people leave the story of their life. And we could do that virtually on Zoom, or we could do it on Long Island in person.
Nice,
So you'll find information about that on my website as well.
nice, nice.
So very good today, Lisa. I hope we
Yeah.
offered some great, powerful, valuable information,
Yes.
right?
Yes, and please, everybody who's watching, share it with others. You never know who might benefit in situations. There are many groups that are out there who, could use something like this.
Yeah,
So,
we're trying to gain momentum over this last year. So please like and share our pages and follow us so you hear the next one that comes out. And I look forward to next week, Lisa.
Me too. Me too.
All
Take
right.
care of yourself.
All
Always
right.
great.
Bye,
Okay.
everybody. Thanks for joining.
Bye-bye.